Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps. Jerel Hendricks back on the board as always, here for our Week 6 South Carolina high school football preview show. John, I feel like a broken record this year. Every week it's been, got a weird week this week, John. Got a crazy week going on here, John.
Yeah.
And the same thing, last week we had a ton of games either rescheduled to earlier in the week, even Saturdays, a couple Mondays due to Hurricane Helene. A lot of games got just canceled, not going to replay at all. Some region matchups are still working on figuring out how to reschedule those, what they're going to do, and with the playoffs, and I don't know. And, John, we got a lot of the same thing this week. A lot of schools in the upstate especially, I don't think are going to be able to play. A lot of cancellations already. The CSRA having some of the same issues as them, John. I would like to have a normal week of just everybody playing football on Friday, clear weather, and just kind of move forward,
Yeah, one of these days maybe we'll get it. But, hey, we'll take any football we can get, obviously under safe circumstances, of course. But, yes, didn't get to see a whole lot of football last week, rather. I shouldn't say Friday, all week last week. Hopefully we get a lot more football this week.
Definitely want to keep those, families and communities who have been affected by Hurricane Helene in our prayers and thoughts. Of course, a lot going on there, especially up here in the upstate and the Western NC area and Tennessee as well. So definitely think about them. And also Isaac Wigginton. We mentioned him on last week's show. Still, going through some tough times after that accident. I think he is improving from what I've seen, but definitely want to keep him, that community, in our thoughts as well. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, we really appreciate you. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. Our website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We do weekly preview shows here on Facebook and YouTube. Tonight we're on Instagram as well, live. Love for you guys to join us on Facebook and Instagram, or Facebook and YouTube, because it's easier to see your comments that way. So definitely join us over there if you could. We do a recap show, comes out on Sundays on our podcast platforms. We do coach interviews. We do teams of the week, games of the week, food review stuff, really cool stuff throughout the week covering South Carolina high school football. But, John, let's get started now. Actually, before we do that, one more thing. Moving the Chains merch. Get your hats, get your shirts, get your toboggans here for the cold weather. Really nice shirts. We got a black one, a gray one, a navy blue, even some pink for the ladies. Send us an email, mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. MovinChains.com. If you want to just message us on there, that's fine, or here on Facebook as well. Hoodies and toboggans, we'll show those later on, but definitely get your Moving the Chains merch and support the guys. Help us make this show better and better and better. But, John, I think we're going to move the show back to what it used to be, move the CONA Games League back to the beginning. Let's start with our Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates games of the week. We've got 5 big ones here. Let's start down with a Thursday night matchup in our CONA Games of the week, and that's Sumter. The Gamecocks are undefeated at 6-0. They're traveling to Florence to take on West Florence. The Knights at 4-1. Like I mentioned, this is a Thursday night ball game here. Sumter last week a big winner over Lugoff Elgin, 42-7. West Florence coming off a bye. A team that I feel like is kind of flying under the radar there are the Knights. They lost week 0 to South Florence, 23-16. Certainly a close ball game in that rivalry matchup. But I think they've got some talent there. They've got some playmakers. Do they have something for Sumter this week?
Yeah, I think this will be a pretty good game. You look at the last 3 games for West Florence. They've given up 1 touchdown last 3 games. Mm-hmm. That's pretty impressive. Sumter, pretty good defensively as well. I listened to a lot of that game last week. Lugoff Elgin actually first drive went down the field, a really good drive with a backup quarterback, scored a touchdown. They struggled to move the ball the rest of the game against that Sumter defense. The Gamecocks always bring good defense to the table. I think West Florence got a good chance because Sumter is pretty one-dimensional on offense. They don't want to throw the ball a ton. They don't throw the ball a ton. Got a 10th grader at quarterback there, Franklin Richardson, quarterback. Very good player, good-looking athlete. They can run the ball for sure. But if West Florence, if they can stifle that run game of Sumter's, I think they got a chance. Now, that's a tall task. There's a lot of guys there in the backfield for Sumter that can move the ball. Fortune, a good player. You recognize that name for the South Carolina Gamecocks, older brother playing in the secondary there. But I think West Florence got a chance. I think Sumter is just the better team here. I think all around they're just a little bit better. I expect this to be a relatively low-scoring game, but I think Sumter comes out on top.
The Gamecocks averaging 44 on offense, 16 on defense. You mentioned them not wanting to throw the ball a lot, obviously with Franklin Richardson there. Threw it 12 times last week, did complete 7 passes, $132 and a touchdown, but he ran it for 160 and 3 more touchdowns. He's really, really a good threat there on the ground. John Peoples, I'm not sure if he played last week or not. He's been one of our players of the week, the Sumter all-time touchdown rushing leader now. I think he was out last week,
He did
John.
not play. Fortune got, I would say Fortune and Richardson split the carries there, if not Richardson getting a majority of them.
Yeah, another playmaker is Jameer Bay out wide for them. Defensively, Anthony Addison, a Super 75 guy, South Carolina commit, really, really impressive off the edge. Good-looking athlete there. Also, Thompson Durant had 9 tackles last week. I believe Addison had 11 and 4 TFLs there. Sumter ran for 302 last week, John. They've rushed for 271 in every game this season. That is running the football. That is pounding the rock right there by the Gamecocks. On the West Florence side, averaging 33 points on offense, 10 on defense. Quarterback Keyshawn Johnson playing that position. He's really more of an athlete, but it's that kind of fill-in quarterback this year. He's done a really good job for them. Receiver Henry Love. Defensively, led by edge/linebacker Romello Patterson, a really good player for them. I think you're exactly right. I think we're looking at a very low-scoring defensive battle this week. I think it's going to be in the 20s. If somebody can score 28, I think they're guaranteed to win probably at that point. Maybe even 24, 21 might be enough to get you a win there. I think Sumter, just a few more playmakers on offense. I say that in my head now. I'm like, I don't know. I like this Johnson kid at quarterback for West Florence. I kind of go the other way. But I think it's going to be a fantastic ballgame on Thursday, too. Obviously, I think, Sumter moving their game up gives them a couple extra days to prepare last week. West Florence having a bye. They're both going to have some time off. Careful there, John, going into that one. But you like Sumter. Is that where you're leaning in this matchup?
Yeah, I like Sumter in this game. I think they got a little bit more talent. And if Peoples is back, that will make a big difference as well. I'm not sure what his situation is, though, currently.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Sumter as well. I think just a few too many playmakers, especially if Peoples does come back. I like the Gamecocks, but that should be a fantastic matchup. One that I'd like to go to, but don't think it'll happen with it being the Thursday, but should be a good one. Jerel, any comments from you on this big 5A matchup or from the chat on West Florence and Sumter?
Yeah, I think this one's going to be some old school football, guys. Low scoring, like you said, defensive battle. I think it'll be likely, kind of matching up that West Florence, South Florence game, to kick off the season. I think it's going to be very, very similar to that. Again, I'm just leaning Sumter, but that's slightly. I think these are two very good football teams. They're very similar stylistically, and you got, again, two very good head coaches, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Give the Gamecocks a slight edge, but would not be surprised if West Florence is able to win this football game.
Perfect. Yep. Any comments from the chat? Kevin says, hi, go Gray Collegiate. Yeah, looking forward to hopefully seeing them play. I don't know if they'll be able to just play BC this week, still up in there. Robert says, how you guys doing? Go Dillon Wildcats.
Big game,
Robert, one of our CONA games we'll get to here in a minute. Cedric says, go Gators, big dog. We're going to get the lane train next year. Hey,
you just might.
Love it there,
John.
Hire. Go Camden. We'll get that game here in a Cedric. That's another one of our CONA games we can get South Point. Break that one down here in a minute as well. Anthony says, Marlboro big over Ainer. 10.1 yards. Is that a carry?
I
believe, yes. That is our sneak preview HTC game of the week. Anthony will get that here in a minute, but that should be a fun matchup as well. Couple comments we've got here in our Instagram. Jason says he was out talking to Peoples. He was out last week. We got a Go Pinewood. We've got a let's see. We got a Sumter by 2 to 3 scores pick here. A couple comments on ball games just not going to get played. Let's see. A couple different things here. Let's see.
If Sumter wins by 2 scores, that's going to be a big-time statement for them.
Yep. A couple more Sumter comments. We're going to compete this week. Yeah, Sumter's a good team, man. They're certainly very good. Jaden says, how many games got canceled in the Upstate? A lot.
Well,
a lot. Yeah, a lot last week. And looks like a good bit this week as well. Somebody asked about Lexington Irmo. We'll get to that one here in a bit. And Pendleton as well. We'll talk about that matchup here shortly. But let's look now at our John had to take the T-shirt off. Go Vol. John, just go shirtless
Vols.
for the show. If you
I
want
don't
to.
know. Vols broke my heart too much with how they beat Clemson in a lot of sports the last few years. Rocky Top's still a great song, though.
For sure. Red Devil Nation here. Battle the Red Devils this week. Yes, certainly Liberty and Clinton will be a fun one. I can break that one down here in a minute. But now, our second CONA game of the week here. Camden at South Point. A new matchup here, as Camden moves up to 4A. getting to take on South Pointe, a matchup that I don't know if we have seen before, John.
I don't think
I cannot remember it happening. But the Bulldogs are 4-2. The Stallions are 3-2. Camden played Dreer last Saturday down at Benedict. They won 20-0 in that matchup. South Pointe coming off a bye. The Stallions averaging 41 and 14. 41 on offense, that is 14 on defense. The Bulldogs averaging 24 on offense, 17 on defense. We may have a change of quarterback for the Bulldogs, John. Last week, Grayson Rimp played a lot. He went 16 for 22, 222, and 2 touchdown passes. Wyatt Thompson went 4 for 4, so he did play some QB2. Not sure if they're just trying to work Rimp in, if he's the starter now. I don't know. I know Thompson, I think, caught a touchdown pass, ran the ball some, threw a couple passes, so maybe using him more as an athlete. We'll see how that shakes out there. Receiver DB Tylen Drakeford had 205 all-purpose yards, a TD catch, 3 tackles, and a PBU. I mentioned the touchdown catch by Thompson. Boykin had a touchdown on the ground. JoJo Krim is still out, I believe, this week, led by Dontre Wilson up front. John, you've seen this Camden team play. What do you think they're going to do on offense? Because that's a big change for a team that has been winning some football games if they're moving the quarterback around at this point in the season.
Yeah, I like that Coach Shrimp is throwing in the wrinkle against a Dreer team that they probably knew they were going to beat. Hey, you got a chance to change some things up a little bit heading into a big game with South Pointe, because I think if Camden wants to be their most successful they can be this year, they got to figure out a way to throw the ball a little bit better, at least than what they did in the one game that I saw against Hartsville. And not that I don't know that I'm not saying Wyatt Thompson can't do that, but maybe Rimp is a better option for throwing the ball downfield. And I think for this game against South Pointe, I think they're going to have to do that. They can't be one-dimensional on offense and just run the ball, with the running backs and with Wyatt Thompson back there. South Pointe is just they're too athletic, they're too fast is another part of that, to let Camden do that for 4 quarters and to do that enough to win the game. So I applaud Coach Shrimp at Camden to, maybe they're trying to sort some things out last week in preparation for this game, because I think South Pointe is the more athletic group in this matchup. I think overall they're the better team as well. I expect South Pointe to win this game. I think Camden's got to do a little extra, do a little something out of their normal capability to be able to win this game.
Talking about the Stallions, one of our themes this year with them, John, is what are they doing at quarterback? I know obviously Cam McMillan was out early in the year. Xavier Currents was playing a lot. McMillan came back. They let him play a little bit. Currents played against Northwestern. Then against AC Florida 2 weeks ago, McMillan played again and looked really good in that ball game. 15 for 21, 257, 4 touchdowns. Running back Mason Pickett Hicks is a big deal there. Receivers Duncan, Kerbeam, big-time playmakers Anthony Baxter up front, a South Carolina commit. Defensively, we mentioned Xavier Currents, a freak athlete back there with KJ Berg and Akil Brown. I've said it, and I've said it all year. I think McMillan is the answer for them. I think they need him healthy. They need him to be able to sling the football around. That defense has been good, man. The defense has been really good at, allowing 14 points per game, playing some really tough competition, like a Northwestern, a Spartanburg, some really, really high-level teams so far. I think Rock Hill as well, I believe, was in that group they played, who is hot now.
Athlete on the offensive side of football.
So yeah, I think McMillan's the key to that offense there. I think we may be looking at a low-scoring game again, similar to Sumter, West Florence, some low points here in this one. But I think McMillan for the Stallions might be a little too much. I think South Pointe at home wins a close one. This is going to be a big, physical, tough football game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun game. 2 really good defenses, 2 very good defensive lines going at it together. I just like the ability in a low-scoring game, and I think you're right, Kev. I think we see probably a lower-scoring game. I like South Pointe's ability to hit those big plays, those chunk plays better than Camden.
Yeah.
Just from an athletic perspective, especially if they have McMillan back there playing quarterback, because he is a guy, he can throw the ball downfield.
Yeah.
He's very comfortable at doing that, and he's been doing it for a couple years now. So I like South Pointe for those reasons.
Played a lot of football for sure. And I do want to see what Camden does at quarterback. If this is a permanent move to Rimp, if it's still kind of a rotating situation, I don't know. We'll see on Friday night how that one shakes out. Jerel, comments from you or from the chat on this Camden South Pointe matchup?
Or comments from Alexa. Not sure
Yeah,
what's going on
Alexa
there.
wants to pop in too.
Chiming in.
Yeah, no, I like South Pointe more in this game. Obviously, I'm pretty high on South Pointe. I think that defense is fantastic. One of the better defenses in the state. And I like their offensive weapons, and obviously Cam McMillan to be able to make plays. With Camden, the issue is if you're this late in the season and you're still trying to figure out the quarterback situation, that's not really the best situation. And I just think that South Pointe's going to be able to score enough, to win this game. And I think their defense is a little bit better. Obviously, they're also playing at home. So give me the Stallions in this one, but it should be a fantastic football game.
And what's interesting, too, is I don't feel like Thompson was playing bad for Camden.
He wasn't playing bad.
So that's why I wonder if maybe there was an injury to Remp earlier in the season. I don't know what the situation is there. Maybe that's why he wasn't playing. I know he was one of the candidates to start for the season when they were kind of working through that competition there. But we'll see how that one shakes out. Drew, any other comments from the chat on this matchup or just thing in general? Chris says, rumor possible move to Saturday, not confirmed. Now, is that for Camden or is that for Batesburg-Leesville, Strom, Thurmond? Chris, I know you're a Thurmond guy, so let me know what game that is talking about there. Tracy says, excited to see Lee up there. Go Cavs. Certainly a big one. That's one of our CONA games of the week, our SCISA game of the week here, Tracy. The Cavs have a big matchup we'll get to here in a minute. Chris says he thinks South Florence Darlington will be a good one. They do. Darlington's been surprising this year. Had a couple nice wins. South Florence, I feel like, are starting to find their groove. We will see here on Friday night. Couple Instagram comments. Let's see. You got Union County up in here. Somebody asked, I believe Elijah asked about Pendleton and TR. I think Pendleton has been playing pretty good football. A couple tough losses when Webb went down there, especially. But TR, I think, is really just kind of rebuilding right now with Coach Goodman. But they will get better and better. Anything else, Drew, before we look at our third CONA game of the week?
Let's move on, guys.
Perfect. Our third CONA game of the week, and maybe the game I'm most excited for this week, John and Jerel, and that is Dillon traveling to Loris. Both teams at 4-1. Dillon coming off a bye, averaging 32 on offense, 15 on defense. Loris, a surprising loss last Wednesday to SCISA, 14-13 in that matchup. The Wildcats won last year 33-14. John, I feel like the last couple of years, this Loris program under Greg Manson has been getting better and better. Had a really good team 2 years ago, kind of got derailed with injuries and whatnot as it kind of hit into region play there. I know there's been some trash talk already leading up to this from both sides and teams, somewhat calling teams out in the newspaper and whatnot. But is this the year that Loris has enough to not only give Dillon a game, but, maybe come out on top? Or is it still going to be Dillon as the king there in that region in 3A?
I think this is going to be an incredible football game. I think it's going to be really, really close. I'm going to say, hey, if they play 3 times, Dillon's going to win 2 of the 3. Mm-hmm. That's about how confident I am in it. I think Loris can win this game just as easy.
Yeah.
I like Dillon a little bit better. I think they're a little bit better of a team. I don't know how the loss last week for Loris, how they will respond from that. I don't know if that's a good thing and it's a, hey, all right, now we really see some things that we need to work on. We need to shore up before we play the Wildcats, or if it's more of a blow to the momentum that they had, being undefeated, looking really, really good. Because I think had they beat SCISA, like I think most people
projected,
except SCISA probably expected, I think a lot of people, including maybe me and you, might pick Loris in this football game. Now, I don't know what that does to the psyche of the kids. It could go one of 2 ways. Hey, here's what we need to work on to get better. We're this close to being a really, really, really good football team. Or shoot, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. I don't know which way it goes. That could be just the deciding factor, the headspace of each of these teams. I'm going to go with Dillon in a really, really close game. I think it's going to be another. I think we're going to see a relatively low-scoring game here too.
The Wildcats, averaging 32 on offense, 15 on defense, have been really happy with the way that quarterback Ramon Hamilton has played. He stepped in late in the offseason after a transfer there. Has played really good there for the Wildcats. Running back Jamarian Fling last year, John, 34 touchdowns. Hadn't been off to quite as hot of a start this year, but still a good player there for them. Damo Felton, another option with the ball in his hands. A name to look out for in the next couple of years, receiver Zay Robertson. This kid's going to be special, John. Had a big game against Hartsville, over 100-plus yards, I think 7 catches there. He looks electric. He will be a big-time player for the Wildcats. An important piece in this game, but really big. At least a sophomore in the next couple of years for them. Defensively, you got K. Park, Campbell, Brown, Graves. They've always got fast, nasty guys on defense. I will say this Dillon team seems to be a little bit undersized compared to normal, just on the lines especially, but still got some really good players there. Loris averaging 42 on offense, 7 on defense. Quarterback Moon Jerel, one of the best names in the state there, John. Running backs Roderick Percha had 15 for 87 and a touchdown last week. Running back Deuce Stevens, 16 for 79 and a touchdown. Receivers Jacobian Grim Lewis and Quantez Dyson, 5 touchdowns each already this season. They're putting up big numbers out wide. They've got 3 offensive linemen that have started for 3 years there. Defensively, Demaria Thurmond, Javon Johnson, really good players up front for them. I mean, you feel like on the Loris side, if this is the year you're going to do it, if you're going to make a run, this is the year to do it. You've got enough, talent back, enough skill players back, enough, linemen back. This is your year to make some noise. And I'll tell you what worries me about both these teams is I feel like neither one has played their best football yet, and they've had some unforced errors maybe in each game. You look back at Dillon, that Hartsville game, they had 3 turnovers, John, and they had huge special teams issues. They had a kick blocked by Demarion Coe. They gave up 2 kickoff return touchdowns by Demarion Coe as well. That worries you in a tight ball game when you turn the ball over and you have problems on special teams. That can certainly come back to bite you in a game like this. But then you look at Loris, they're averaging 13 penalties for 98 yards a game. Yeah. So I feel like those 2 things kind of counteract because, if you do either one of those, you usually lose football games when it's a big game like this.
Yeah, with a big game like this too, you're going to have momentum. You're going to have momentum swings, momentum shifts. And you think about it, and I've seen Dillon games. I've seen Dillon lose a game of a huge special teams play. It was either special teams or 4th down play right there on the goal line a couple of years ago. If you make a big play, big special teams play or whatever it may be, you make a big play, and then there's a flag, and it gets taken away by that, and of course, half the team's going to say, it's not a penalty, come on, you got to let the guys play, and whether it's a penalty or not. But the point of it is, you don't want to make a huge play, huge momentum play, and then you have a penalty, bring it back, and can just completely wipe it out. So, that's a cause for concern, the giving up some big plays for Dillon. And then Loris, hey, if you do get one of those big plays, can you have the refs keep the flag in their pockets and not take that away? That's a big concern. But they're 2 well-coached teams. You like to think they're going to get that shored up at some point in time. And boy, this Friday would be the best time to do that for both ends. And again, another thing, this region specifically, boy, it's tough.
Yes,
region
sir.
5, 3A is tough.
I think the toughest one in the region, or tough one in the state, I believe, in 3A.
You can't afford to lose this game because you stubbed your toe. Both of these teams are really good. Both of these teams will be in the playoffs, but for seeding wise, boy, you really don't want to lose this one.
Yeah, and I think, in my opinion, playing this ball game away from Dillon is a big, big plus for the Lions. Between the white walls there at Dillon Memorial Stadium is a tough place to win, tough place to play. I think Loris getting this game at home certainly helps them, John. Who do you like in this one? I think this is a top level matchup this week.
I do too. I think this is going to be a great game. And this is another one where I don't feel 100% confident. I think Dillon's a better team. I think they're in a better spot right now with Ainer coming off the loss. I don't see that just incredibly sparking this Loris team and then getting another gear because of that loss to SCISA. I think Dillon's in a better spot in the season right now. They can point that Hartsville and go, gosh, if we didn't make so many stupid mistakes, if we can play a game when Demarion Coe is not on the football field, we got a really good chance. So I like Dillon. I think they're a little bit better football team. They're more used to these big time games because of how deep they make runs in the playoffs year in and year out. I like the Wildcats to win this in a very, very close one. But boy, if Loris wins this is going to be a lot of fun in 3, especially in the lower state, because then SCISA can say, hey man, Ainer, Loris, we beat both of them. They got to claim to be a pretty tough group too.
Yeah. It's tough for me because I've been very high on Loris this year. You guys will know that I've talked him up preseason show all throughout the season. I think the lines are very good. I think Dillon, your best option if you want to win this game is you run the ball a lot with Felton and Fling. I think you keep it away from those Loris playmakers and kind of keep the ball on the ground there. But I'm going to go Loris. I think they're going to win this game at home. And here's the call I'm going to make, John. You mentioned the kickoff return touchdowns for Hartsville in the past game. Jacobian Grimm Lewis for Loris has already taken a kick to the house this year. I think it's another one this week. I think Loris wins on a big kickoff return. I like the Lions in a close ball game at home.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. You're sticking with your Loris.
Got to.
Pride. I like
Got
it.
to. Jerel, what do you think about this ball game? What do you like? What is the chat like? Give us some thoughts on this big 3A matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. That game Wednesday, I guess it was earlier in the week against SCISA for Loris, it spooked me. I was high on Loris as well. I probably would have picked them, especially them being at home, had they not lost to SCISA this week. With that being said, I got to ride with Dillon. I think the Wildcats are going to be able to get it done. You mentioned the penalties, man. That I did not realize. I know that was an issue with them this previous game against SCISA, but I didn't realize it was a recurring thing that's been happening this season. So I think Loris, man, maybe it's hard to say, maybe more talented than Dillon. That's kind of weird coming out of my mouth, to say it this year. But I just got to go with, I'm just more comfortable picking Dillon in this particular matchup. But you guys hit the nail on the head with it, with this region being so difficult. Every one of these games is so pivotal to set up playoff seeding. So whoever loses this game is really staring at, with how good we've heard that Marlboro County is really staring at, a 3 seed, playing on the road in the playoffs. So it's going to be a lot of momentum swing. It's going to be a very fun football game. But I'm going to side with Dillon on this one, and we'll take a look at some comments. They're still talking about your shirt. In the comments, John. I don't know about the wardrobe choices.
Let's talk about this shirt and get you a Movin The Chains shirt. Come on, guys. Talk about this one. What do we got? Robert says Dillon going to be a good one. It certainly will, Robert. I think probably the game of the week for me. Curtis says close game. Gives Dillon the edge. Lakeview and Memphis should be a great one too. Yeah, I think HP has been underrated all year. I think they're a very dangerous team with that backfield, especially. Curtis will get that here in a little bit. Kenny says thoughts on Dixie Calhoun Falls. We'll get that one here in a minute in the 1A breakdown. Patrick says dumpster fire in Gainesville. Find a better shirt, John. How about that?
Hey, well, Patrick, also there's other games going on in the country this week, like Florida State, that dumpster fire. Miami got lucky. They were gifted a win this past weekend too. So the whole state's a mess.
Let's keep it moving, guys.
One comment from Jay Beasy on Instagram asking about Sumter High. We actually just broke down that ball game in our first CONA game of the week. Once we're done, you can go back and watch this video on Facebook and YouTube. You can check it out there and have our thoughts on the Gamecocks and the Knights matchup. Now, our fourth CONA game of the week, a really, really big 2A game. And what's crazy, John, about some of these matches we talked about tonight, it's maybe the first region game for some of these teams, second at most. But it could be the region title on the line this week.
Yeah.
And this week we've got Batesburg-Leesville undefeated, traveling to Strom Thurmond. The Rebels at 3-1. Last year, the Rebels defeated the Panthers 44-14. Batesburg-Leesville, a 48-0 win over Mid-Carolina last week. Strom Thurmond got canceled, so you can say they had a bye, whatever you want to call it. I don't know there. The Rebels averaging 28 on offense, 12 on defense. The Panthers, 43 on offense, 8 on defense, have only given up points in 2 games so far this season, John. Batesburg-Leesville quarterback Tanner Watkins, 8 completions last week, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 83 yards on the ground, another touchdown there. Running back Amadre Wooden, 20 for 125, 2 tutties. Receiver KD Witt, 2 more touchdowns. Clark and Davis for weapons as well. On defense, I really like Clarence Springs, a big-time hitter out of the safety spot there. He's a good player for the Panthers. Strom Thurmond, 2 weeks ago in their win over Emerald, Bryshawn Lee, 7 for 15, 117. Running back Deontay Phillips, 13 for 109, 2 touchdowns. Mathis, also an option on the ground. Receiver Jay Sewell is a big-time player. Love Caleb Simpkins. He is a good-looking athlete out there on both sides of the ball there for Coach Webb's squad. Offensive defensive line look good. They look big there. Merriweather up front. Josh is a load. He's a great player. 8 tackles, 2 TFLs. Bryson Coleman, Caden Wigfall are some other playmakers there, John. Strom Thurmond, came big on the scene last year, made a deep run in the playoffs, had that tough loss to Gray Collegiate, the game that we were at there. Batesburg-Leesville, kind of an upstart this year. They've had some down years lately. A lot of these young guys have grown up now. They beat Abbeville earlier this year. I think people thought they are they're for real. This is another test to find out how real the Panthers are.
Yeah, and this might be, I love Abbeville, and Abbeville is one of the best programs in the state. This might be probably Batesburg-Leesville's toughest game to this point. Strom Thurmond's played some tough games. They played North Augusta already.
That's their one loss, a 4A school.
I mean, in a knock them out, drag them out 14-7 game. So Strom Thurmond's a little more tested, I think, and they're at home. They had a great season last year. They know how to deal with success. I want to pick Batesburg-Leesville because I think they've been at Jerel made this argument about a game a couple weeks ago, maybe even last week, that hey, I think this team has a better resume, but I think the other team might be more talented. And I don't know if that's the case here, but Batesburg-Leesville has a great resume. And for that, from what I know about both teams thus far, I want to pick Batesburg-Leesville for that reason. I mean, they've shut out, 3 games?
Yeah,
3
games. Shutouts.
They haven't given up a point. They beat an Abbeville team that's really, really good. They beat a big school in Lower Richland. I think Lower's a 4A school. They've done some things. Strom Thurmond, really good team too. I'm a little bit worried about the Rebels' offense, though. I think that could be a limiting factor here. I'm going to go with the Panthers. I'm going to take Batesburg-Leesville to really make their big splash this week with a region victory over Strom Thurmond. But I could see this game going the other way too. I think no matter what, it's going to be close. I think both of these teams can be very, very, very good no matter what happens in this game. I don't think one of them blows out the other, though. I think this can be a very tight ball game.
I agree. I think we're looking at more of a defensive game as well in this one. That Strom Thurmond, when we saw them against North Augusta, the defense looked really, really impressive. But you mentioned it, John. The offense had a little problem kind of getting going, it felt like there. Got to find a little bit more of a passing game. Got to get that worked out. And I'm sure, it'll get going as the season goes. But they're going to need it on Friday. And a key thing for me is I hope this game gets played on Friday, honestly. I know that area, Aiken, I think Aiken County's already canceled all their games. Strom Thurmond, pretty close there in Edgefield County. We'll see what happens over there if they're able to play those games or get moved back or what. But I hope it does happen. This is the best start since 2015 for the Panthers. I saw that at 5-0 now. A program that's won a lot over the years. So certainly proud and excited to see what they've got going on here. But man, it's tough picking at Strom Thurmond. They've answered every challenge the last couple of years. Every game we thought that maybe they wouldn't have a chance in. They've either, hung around, won it, or even had some blowouts in some of those ball games too. Coach Webb has done a fantastic job there with this group. But you're right, man. The offense does scare me a little bit. I think Batesburg-Leesville has enough playmakers where they can make just enough big plays, just enough broken tackles to win this ball game in a close one. Down at the Peach Fields, I hate picking at Strom Thurmond in the Peach Fields because that place is a tough place to play. But I think Batesburg-Leesville, with their firepower on offense, can win this game. But I think it's going to be a tight matchup. Jerel, your thoughts on this one? I know, we saw Strom Thurmond, I guess 3 weeks ago now. Have not seen Batesburg-Leesville yet. What do you like in this 2A, region contest? It could, like I said, it could be for the region title.
Yeah, it could be for the region title. And I was looking through the schedules. I think both of these teams don't play Saluda until the second to last or the last game in the season. So they're going to get an early bump, whoever wins this football game. And again, it's very pivotal, as all these region matchups are, when it comes to start looking at playoff seeding, especially these teams that we're talking about here, because we think they're obviously very good if they're playing in a CONA game of the week.
Yeah.
I gotta side with you. I'm just afraid of this Thurmond offense. Can they score enough to beat Batesburg-Leesville? Batesburg-Leesville has put up points regardless. We know that their defense is good, but can this Thurmond offense score enough? I know the one game we saw was against a very, very talented North Augusta team, but they really did struggle, when it came to the passing game. So I for that reason, I'm going to lean with the Panthers. Again, like you guys said, I would not be surprised which way it goes if either team won. But I'm gonna, I've had Batesburg-Leesville high all year. I think they have an impressive resume. I think they have a fantastic roster. They obviously know how to get things done, and I'm just gonna ride that hot hand. I think they're gonna go in there and win this football game as it gets played.
Yeah, I can see it now. I can see the montage next week of us all saying offense scores me, and then it fades into Strom Thurmond scoring like 7 touchdowns and just touchdown. I can just see it now in my head coming. So that worries me. And also, Jerel, I got to ask you, how many points is the fried bologna sandwich worth the Rebels, though? That's got to be a big kicker there for them in the Peach Fields.
Huge boost. I mean, people saw that review. I mean, I gotta give a boost for unique options. Took me back to my childhood, of course. Thick cut fried bologna. Personally, I like mine cooked a little bit more. Burn that stuff. I need it burnt. I need it cooked a little bit more, but to each his own. When you're cooking for the masses, you can't get specialty orders. But yeah, definitely a big boost for the fried bologna sandwich down there at the Peach Fields. Fantastic venue. I know a lot of people are going to try to go to that game. Again, that's another region of the state that got hit hard with the hurricane. So we're definitely thinking about those guys. And I really hope that maybe they can go watch some football to kind of take their minds away from what happened this past weekend for a few hours.
For sure. Well, Jerel, what comments do we have from the chat on this matchup? I've got a couple on Instagram as well once you get through the Facebook and YouTube ones.
We actually have no specific comments for this matchup. I'm shocked.
They must also be out of power down there. I don't know what's going on.
It's got to be something. So, yes.
Yeah, Greg Bryant says Rebels by 7. A couple comments here about Hartsville, Lower Richland, and Bluffton, Beaufort. We'll get to those here in a little bit, guys, as we go through the statewide slate. But, John, let's look now at our 5th CONA game of the week, our SCISA game of the week. A big 1A matchup, Lee Academy at 3-2. And I guess they had a game that got called due to the rain earlier in the year. You can give them a tie, whatever you're going to do. They won 3 ball games. They're playing Dorchester, who was 4-0. These squads did not match up last year. Dorchester had a postpone/bye situation last week, like a lot of folks did there. Lee, 38-16, lost to PD last week, averaging 31 on offense, 23 on defense. Dorchester averaging 22 on offense, 10 on defense. Quarterback John Quattlebaum for the Raiders. Running back John Wetzel had 274 and 2 touchdowns in their win over Beaufort 2 weeks ago. They are in the mix to make a run every year with Coach Nelson. It feels like they played really good football the last couple of years there. On the Lee Academy side, quarterback freshman Braden Davis has played really good football for them. Running back Andrew Bowers is the guy that makes them go, though. They've got a big physical offensive line. Kalen June's a weapon outside and on defense as well. Very physical. First-year head coach Will First Kono from Lawrence Manning, the guy that took the Swamp Cats to the state title game last year. What do you like here between the Cavs and the Raiders? Should be a really fantastic 1A game, John. I feel like really in SCISA, I guess, sorry, not 1A, 2A, excuse me. In 2A there in SCISA, everybody's so tight, it feels like. It's certainly a big matchup between those two squads.
I'd say I like Dorchester Academy for 2 reasons. I think they got a really good defense. And then defensively for Lee Academy, I'm not as high on their defense. I think –
also, it is 1A. I don't know why I said 2A. It is 1A. I had it right the first time. Yeah, 1A matchup. Sorry.
I like the ability of Dorchester Academy to shut down Lee Academy enough. Mm-hmm. And I think Dorchester will score enough points to win this game. I think this is the week of low-scoring games.
Yeah.
Batesburg-Leesville, Strom, Thurmond might be our best chance to have a light up the scoreboard, maybe a little bit. Other than that, for the CONA games of the week, I think we're going to see some low-scoring affairs here. I think it's going to be another low-scoring one. First of 20 wins, but I think it's Dorchester.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go lead with this one. I mentioned that game last week, 38-16 loss to PD. That game was 16-16 at half. So they hung around really tough there for the first half, and just, I guess, PD made some great adjustments in the second half there. But I like Davis. I like Bowers. I think Coach First has these guys ready to roll. They're a physical football team. They're going to smack you in the mouth. And I think that Dorchester – having that bye last week, I don't know if they've quite played a team to the caliber of Lee yet. I like the Cavs. Should be a fun matchup. Coach First, Coach Nelson there. But I like Lee Academy in a close one on the road. Jerel, what do you like in this matchup? What's the chat say? Any comments on there? Got a couple on Instagram as well.
You're just giving them the bump because they played your PD Academy squad
16
there.
On half. I mean, it's
giving them. You see that?
What do you
want? Behind this. He's telling us that Dorchester's a little bit better, but then we get out here, and then he's giving them the PD, the PD bump. I love that. I'm going Dorchester. I love picking SCISA because I'm just going to go with the logo and the Raiders. Going with Dorchester. That made fantastic logo there. I mean, I think they're a little bit better from what I've seen. So I'm going to go with there. I don't have any bias when it comes to SCISA ball, so I'm going Dorchester. They've played better this year, and I think they're going to win this football game.
My dad went to Dorchester, but that's not what I'm picking.
There's the bias.
They're both compromised, people. They're both compromised.
I love it. I love it. I got a comment here that says, yeah, Lee Academy is really physical this year and the coach first. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. A really big football team there. Like I said, they'll smack you in the mouth for sure. Once again, any other comments, Jerel, from the chat before we wrap up our CONA games of the week here?
No, nothing specific.
Perfect. Once again, our CONA games of the week. We had Sumter at West Florence, a Thursday night matchup. Camden at South Pointe. Dillon at Loris. Batesburg-Leesville at Strom Thurmond. And then Lee Academy at Dorchester Academy. 5 fantastic ball games there in our Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates games of the week. As always, guys, if you missed these, you can go back and watch them when the show's over on Facebook and YouTube. Love to have you check those out and give us your thoughts in case you tuned in late. Jerel, let's talk about some friends of the program. Then we'll get to the 5A slate and work our way down.
Facing unexpected expenses and need a quick play? A personal loan from Founders Federal Credit Union can help you cover costs and get back in the game. With competitive rates and flexible terms, a personal loan from Founders is the winning play. Whether it's for a big purchase or an emergency, we've got you covered. Visit foundersfcu.com/personal to get started. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. Yes, got a comment here from Greg saying that, yes, a lot of folks down there in the CSRA still do not have power. So that's probably, I didn't comment on that game, Drill. I know they love talking about the Rebels for sure and the Panthers too. So I'm sure they would have been all over that one. But let's start now with the 5A slate, John. Work our way down and go through those matchups. And, if I've seen that one's been moved, I'll try to throw it in there. And, if you guys saw something that we haven't, let us know as well.
Yeah, so we'll start with Fort Dorchester goes to Ashley Ridge.
A team that needs to win. Fort D started off pretty well, won a lot of close ball games, have really kind of taken on the chin last couple weeks to White Knoll and South Florence. Need to turn it around there. Ashley Ridge, Coach Tate, they've been kind of up and down as well. I think they've got some talent there. Just got to put it together.
I think Ashley Ridge wins this game too. But yeah, they can use a bounce back themselves. Stratford will go to Berkeley.
Berkeley, a team that I'm high on. Stratford has played some pretty good football this year. Been competitive with some teams. Haven't really gotten that big signature win yet. But you guys know I'm high on Berkeley. Love Henry Rivers and Coach Lodge there. I think the Stags win this one. But that could have some points in that matchup.
It certainly could. And, I think we'll see how good Stratford is.
Yep.
Unfortunately for Stratford, I think this is another game where they play well and they come up just short.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have Dorman at Boiling Springs. Berkeley, a sleeper team. I tell you what. They've woken us up.
Yes, yes.
We know
they've been in my top 5.
Yeah,
I'm high on them.
Yeah, we like Berkeley a lot.
Dorman Boiling Springs not playing. I actually saw that Region 2 5A has canceled all contests this week. So they're not going. And neither is, I think, Gaffney. Obviously, they're not playing. They're supposed to play, I believe, Spartanburg that game. Gaffney and Eastside's canceled. Burns Riverside canceled. So all of those in Region 2 5A are out for this week.
Okay. We'll go back down North Myrtle Beach. We'll go to Conway.
2 more teams that need to win, in the worst way. I thought North Myrtle Beach would be a little bit improved this year, have not really shown it a ton as far as the victories come. I think they're playing decent football there for Coach Hill. Hadn't gotten the wins they're looking for there. Conway had a tough season. They beat Jerel, a 2A team, and they lost to 2 3A teams. And Ainer in that crazy game lost to Marlboro County as well. Lost to Loris as well there at Conway. So we'll see what Coach Pierce and the boys have there for Coach Hill when they come to town.
We'll see Chapin go to Dutch Fork. Could be a good game. Chapin's a much improved team this year.
Dutch Fork undefeated. Chapin, I believe, 4-1. They're 1 loss down there at Somerville.
Close game.
Chapin has put up some points against everybody. Yeah. They should be playing as of now.
Yeah, they should be playing that game.
We'll see how that shakes out. Brady Albro slinging it around there to those guys has done a fantastic job. Even that game against Sumter, I think he ended up throwing for like 400-something yards, crazy numbers. Something like that. And he just, ton of yards in that one. Dutch Fork, really good secondary, led by Elgin Sessions, the West Virginia commit. Fun to see that matchup there. I think Dutch Fork, too much firepower. And this could be a game where Dutch Fork's like, you know what? We're going to hold you to nothing. Like, they may shut this offense down to really show us that the Silver Foxes are for real.
That's what I want to say. We've been talking about defenses tonight. We got to talk. That Dutch Fork defense has been unreal. I know they haven't been able to, just scheduling non-region stuff like that, but their defense has been fantastic this year.
Yeah, Josh Smith, the defensive lineman there, just decommitted from Coastal Carolina. He's got some offers, I think P4 offers now from NC State and South Carolina. We'll see what ends up there. But he's a great player up front. Sessions on the back end. Got a really good linebacker, too. I cannot think of his name right now, but he's a stud as well. If you, John, or you, Jerel, have it.
Raleigh Salters.
Raleigh Salters. There we go, Jerel. Good call. Good call.
The Dutch Fork defense doesn't get enough credit year year.
They don't.
The offense gets a lot of the shine. It's, it always does, right? But that defense, they are good year in and year out.
No doubt.
We'll see Rock Hill go to Fort Mill.
Bearcats are hot. Big win over Indian Land on Saturday. Scored a touchdown in the last minute to win that game. They were down, I think, 2 scores at one point. Coach Birch has the boys rolling.
That's a good Indian Land team as well. Talked about Eastside at Gaffney. That game will not be played. What, they cancel it, or are they going to try to reschedule?
They're waiting to see, I think, what the high school league does.
Okay.
There's, talk of moving the playoffs back a week and, get an extra week. We'll see what happens. But, now you need 2 weeks for some of these teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen. They're still up in there.
We'll have Wando at Goose Creek. Easley is scheduled to play at Greenville. I know Greenville County, I believe, is having class all week.
Yeah, Greenville County has not officially canceled games yet. I don't think the decision will come down Wednesday. I don't expect them to play that football game, put it that way.
If they don't have school all week, I don't think they play.
Yeah.
And that's what it's looking at right now. Malden scheduled to play at Greenwood.
Canceled that one. Greenwood has canceled that one already. Yep.
Irmo is at Lexington.
That one is happening. Irmo, the big news today, wide receiver Donovan Murph, who is a junior, 2026, actually reclassified to a 2025 today. So now he is a big-time recruit, got a lot of offers. I think he has a top 10 or 12, maybe an 11 set right now. So he'll move up his recruiting process a little bit there for Murph. Big-time player for Coach Brand. Irmo, a big physical team, man. Lexington has played some good defense this year. I don't think I've seen an offense quite like Irmo. I think the Yellow Jackets roll. I think they continue to show that they are one of the premier teams in that Division II 5A.
Yeah. I like the Yellow Jackets in that one. They call that the dam game. Battle of the Lake Murray Dam.
Lucas likes listening an upset. Hey, the word for me with the Lexington team is, do they have the playmakers on offense? Like, I know the defense is good, but can they score enough points to win a game like this? That's what worries me there, Lucas.
Yeah, and I think Irmo's going to score some points no matter what. That should be a fun game, though. Cane Bay will be at Lucy Beckham. Blythewood will play at Lugoff Elgin.
Sneaky game there. Blythewood has been playing good football. They took, I think their first loss to Westwood 2 weeks ago, bounced back last week with a nice win. Lugoff Elgin, as you know, John, much improved this year. Tough one against Sumter last week, but they put up some points in some other matchups. That Blythewood defense has been pretty shut down, so you can see those two units go at it against each other.
Yeah, Lugoff Elgin's got to get healthier. They played their second-string quarterback against Sumter. He ended up going out in that game as well, played a good bit of that second half with their third-string quarterback. You look at NFL teams, they're down to their third-string quarterback. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Think about a high school team having to play a
get the JV guy up at that point.
That's really tough to have. If they can get a little bit healthier, I don't know how healthy they'll be for this week, but this game could be for a playoff berth.
Yeah.
So this is a really big deal for both of these schools. We'll see St. James go to Myrtle Beach. Indian Land will go to Nation Ford. Clover is at Northwestern.
Man, the Trojans look good, don't they? Oh, my gosh. They're blowing out everybody. Big win over Catawba Ridge on, I think, Friday night last week. I can't remember what night they played, but they were just lighting up the scoreboard. Defense playing lights out as well. Clover had a nice win. I think they played Saturday or Monday. I think Monday they played Fort Mill. I believe and got a win there. A nice bounce back after a loss to I think, Rock Hill 2 weeks ago.
I would be trying to get – if I played Northwestern, I'd be, all right, we got to figure out a way to get this game canceled. I would not want to play the Trojans. White Knoll is at River Bluff.
That's a big matchup there, in my opinion. I think River Bluff, is still undefeated right now. We don't know a ton about them, it feels like. I feel like they just have not played the toughest schedule to this point. White Knoll, we think, is pretty good. Took the tough loss to Sumter, but have played some big opponents outside of that and had nice wins with Camden and Fort D and guys like that. A big region matchup here. I think White Knoll is starting to figure it out with Landon Sharp there for Coach Pell. I think it took them a couple weeks to kind of get their mojo back, but I think the Wolverines are playing good football. I think they hand Riverboat their first loss this week.
Yeah, I think so too. I think White Knoll, that first game against Camden scared me a little bit. That game is tighter than what I thought it would be. But yeah, I think White Knoll is getting it figured out. I think they win this game. River Bluff, they're going to be another team where they're going to be really battling out to get a playoff berth in that really, really tough region.
Or get a better puck. I want to say down 5A. I think everybody's going to make the playoffs. I believe. If not, it's going to be very tight. Yes, but certainly a better spot in the playoffs.
Well, they'll probably get in considering how tough that region is. Still want to win the game.
Yes.
Carolina Forest will go to Socastee. Wade Hampton will be at Spartanburg.
That one's
Probably
canceled.
Not gonna play that game.
Yep.
Ridgeview at Spring Valley. Somerville will go to RB Stall. I don't know if Hillcrest will be at TL Hanna or not. I know a lot of Anderson's gotten power back, but not.
Yeah, have not seen. I don't expect it to be played, but we'll see. And I hope it does. I mean, well, at some point it'll have to, but that's always a fun game. Two teams that have been in the region together for a long time, played a lot of really good ball games over the years. I hope that one does get to play, but I'm not expecting it to at this point.
I would be surprised. James Island will be at West Ashley.
Two hard-hitting teams there, two very physical teams. Could be a low-scoring match. I think the Trojans a little too much firepower on offense.
JL Man will go to Woodmont.
I believe that one is canceled or should be canceled, I think, in the next couple of days.
Yeah, Simpsonville's doing a little bit better, but JL Man, Greenville County, probably not going to have school all week. So, and then our last game of 5A, one of our CONA games of the week, Sumter going to West Florence.
Yes. Jerel, any comments from you or the chat on the 5A slate?
Before we get to the chat, I was scrolling. I saw Donovan Murph. He announced that earlier today. Unfortunately for John, his Gators did not make the top 11.
Oh, no, John.
Just wanted to relay that
high
information
flying offense
before we got to the comments. Sorry, John.
Disclaimer: I'm not a Gators fan. I've been to Gainesville a few times. I like the look. I had to get a shirt when I go somewhere.
Could have fooled me.
I'm shocked. Not what I've
Nathan
not
said.
what I've
Missed
heard.
Camden, South Pointe, Camden, but it tells you. Yeah, they play some tough ones, no doubt about it. White Knoll and certainly they've gotten after it. Fort Dorchester a year away, too young. Okay. Yeah, I love the running back, the Campbell kid there. I think he's a junior this year. They will be really, really tough. I think next year. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I didn't realize how young they were. That's good to know. Okay,
let's go to 4A, guys.
Instagram comment. Caden says Irmo Lexington should be a good game. I think so, too. I think the Yellow Jackets is too much firepower. I think that offense is too tough right now. I think they'll score a few too many points for Lexington to keep up with.
Yeah, and Donovan's really got a reason to show off now. He's probably getting a full mailbox now.
That's right. Let's look down at 4A now, John.
We'll see North Augusta go to Aiken.
Cancel. I think Aiken County, I believe, has shut down all their games already as well.
Bluffton at Beaufort.
That's an interesting matchup there. Bluffton has played some good football lately. I like that offense there. Beaufort, they always play super tough non-region schedule. I don't think they had a win in the non-region until they got – well, they actually beat Battery Creek, which can't remember that was in the region or not. But I think Beaufort's getting better and better. I think they win this game at home. That'll be a tough one there. Lucas said Hilton Head, Bluffton postponed. Yeah, that will be a good one too, because I think both teams are playing good football. I hope that one gets to be played on the back end here.
Don't think this game will be played. Daniel is scheduled to play at Berea. Hilton Head this week, going to Bishop England.
Sneaky game here. Bishop England turned around after losing to Porter-Gaud 2 weeks ago in a non-competitive football game. They come back and they beat an undefeated Woodland team last week. So Bishop England's been a little tough to figure out lately. Playing pretty good football. I like that defense. And I think Hilton Head Island, I like their offense. So it should be a pretty good matchup there. I think the Battling Bishops can win this game at home. We shall see. Wyatt says 4 of the teams in Region 6-4 have a winning record. BE and Hilton Head play each other, big matchup. Yeah, certainly is. Wyatt. That's been a region that, we didn't know what to expect going into the year, honestly. We weren't sure, May Rivers looked really good, undefeated, but we didn't know what to think going into the season. But that has been a surprise for sure down there in 4A.
And one of those teams that doesn't have a winning record is Beaufort, and they're going to be tough for everybody as well. That's going to be that's a great point to bring up because that's going to be a fun region down the lower state this year. Moving on, we've got Seneca. I don't know if they're going to play at Blue Ridge. Probably not. Mayor, we talked about, they will go to Colleton County.
And I believe they will go to 6-0 as well with that ball game.
Should. Richland Northeast will go to Dreher.
R&E, they beat Lancaster Saturday. It was a low-scoring game. It was kind of surprising. I think it was like 19-6, which Lancaster is a ground-and-pound team. They want to hold the rock. Maybe that's part of it. That score kind of threw me off. But I think Lancaster's a pretty good football team. Thought it'd be more than that, but Arnie, I think this is a big time points explosion for them again this week.
Yeah, I think Arnie's the real deal. When we talk about Lancaster, hey, Lancaster, they'll sneak up and bite you too.
Yes, sir.
If you can win against the Bruins, take it and get out of there. So Arnie getting that win is no fine by me, even if it's a low scoring game. I think Arnie is really, really good this year. Wren is supposed to play at Emerald.
Canceled. Greenwood County, I believe, canceled all their matchups as well so far.
South Aiken will go to Gilbert.
I think that one's canceled as well with another Aiken County out.
We're not sure about Brooklyn Casey at Gray, whether that game's going to happen or not.
Yeah, I've heard might be some bad blood there with those two, kind of being in the same area now that they're in the same region as well. Not sure if that will happen or not.
Could be a spicy
I hope
one.
it does. I think Gray Collegiate, I wanted to see them last week against North Augusta. We had to miss that ball game. I think it'll be a fun one there. I think it'll be good for them to play some teams in the region, not to play some of these crazy opponents that are having to play non-region time. Brooklyn Casey has been struggling so far this year. I think the War Eagles, if they do play, I think they get a win in this one.
I think so too. Lower Richland will be at Hartsville.
Hartsville, a team that had a nice win over Dillon. Always a tough opponent. Lower Richland, struggled some. Lost a tough game to Lugoff Elgin earlier in the year. Lost to Batesburg-Leesville. I think Hartsville is very good, and I think they're going to keep getting better and better as that quarterback gets more experience there for them. Smith. I think Coach Calabrese's Brunch is a team that we're going to need to watch out for as the region play continues to go.
Yeah, they're a really good team. They could have beat Camden in that game that I went down there. They're just a couple plays away. As this team, more specifically this offense, as they just gel a little bit more of the season, they're going to be really, really good. I expect them to win this game. Could be a low-scoring game. The Diamond Hornets do have a pretty good defense there. AC Flora will go to Lancaster.
John, AC Flora, they've got a pretty good record, do they not?
I don't think so.
They don't have a good record? Okay, sorry. So, scratch that. I felt like they were kind of being surprising so far this year, but it maybe they haven't played anybody.
Well, they have surprised me in how bad they've been.
Okay, good to know. I just wanted to check. Yeah.
Well, Flora's 4-2.
Okay, 4-2.
4-2?
Yeah. See? But I was going to say, I think
losses to Chapin and South Point.
I was going to say, I think their record is better than they are. I think Lancaster wins this game. I like RJ Brown at Lancaster. I think the Bruins, I think they win this matchup.
Okay, well, sorry about that, Flora. I must have just seen those two games then. Fountain Hill will be at Lawrence. Airport goes to Midland Valley.
I believe that game is canceled, but I'm not 100% sure about that one.
Airport will be at Midland Valley.
That one's canceled as well. That one's canceled. Yep.
Travelers Rest at Pendleton, probably not going to happen.
We had a comment about that one earlier. Jerel, if you want to pop in, I know your Devil Dogs, obviously kind of a rebuilding period right now. Nathan says Sam's going to play Berea Blues TR. Hey, Nathan, let them make a super team. We still got Daniel minus the points.
I'll take Daniel in that one as well.
They would go 3-0 if that was the case, for sure, Nathan. That's pretty funny there. I had to pop that one up.
Hopefully nobody from Berea, Blue Ridge, or TR is on right now.
Except for Jerel.
Sorry, Jerel.
Yeah, and I don't know with Pendleton how they've looked with Gray being out there. With Webb being out for them. I like the quarterback, the young kid there. I believe Gray, Luke. Is it Luke Gray? I believe it's his name. Let me make sure I get that right.
Luke Gray, the quarterback, yes.
Luke Gray, the quarter. No, sorry. Jace Grass, the new quarterback. Luke Gray was the old quarterback. Jace Grass is the new fresh quarterback. Yeah, he's been playing really well for them. I like what Pendleton is doing. Obviously, a big loss when you lose a guy like Webb, but I think the Bulldogs are still a good football team.
Yeah. Greer Pickens probably not going to happen. Darlington will be at South Florence.
Darlington, I think 2-0 in region play. When's the last week you say that about the Falcons? Coach Johnson's done a fantastic job there. I think South Florence starting to figure it out, I believe. The offense has looked really good the last couple weeks after struggling early on in the year. Coach Marlowe and the boys are starting to roll. I want to see Jalen Augustus at Darlington against that South Florence team. That's a quarterback that doesn't get talked enough about. He is a really special playmaker there. I think South Florence, too many playmakers on defense. I think the Bruins win this ball game.
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Darlington plays pretty solid defense. We're still – I don't know about you. I'm not very comfortable with that South Florence downfield passing game yet. This could be a lower scoring because of that closer game than what South Florence fans want to see. But I think they do win comfortably.
That game might be Saturday. I need to check on that. We'll get to it in a minute, but it is Wilson's homecoming this week.
Okay.
So that's why West Florence is playing on Thursday, and I believe South may be on Saturday. They want to divert all the resources, we'll say, to Wilson on Friday night for that big homecoming night for them.
Okay. I understand that. Camden, one of our CONA games of the week, Camden at South Pointe. Will not see the South Side, West Side game happen. Probably a good thing for South Side that they don't play that game.
Yes.
I get that they want to play football, and it sinks to the scenario why they don't play. And then we will see Crestwood at Wilson.
Yes, homecoming, like I said, for Wilson. Always a big night. Will be a huge crowd there for the Tigers, for sure. Any comments from the chat, Jerel, on 4? You got a couple of Instagram ones here once you get through what we ever have there. Chris, what's up? Chris, good talking to you, man. Good having you in here. Appreciate you. It'll be tough without seeing Gaffney this weekend and all those big boys for sure. He was taking Buford after seeing them both. I think so, too. I like that pick there.
That's all I got here.
It's going to be tough.
Perfect. Couple comments. Radio Short says, look at the boys. Good seeing you, Short. Appreciate you being in here. Caden says, what do you think about Lexington the rest of the season? That region Lexington's in is very tough. I mean, you got River Bluff, White Knoll, Irmo, Dutch Fork, and Chapin. Those are 6 really good football teams. And I think the thing maybe that goes in the favor of Lexington is they kind of play a different style from those guys. They're going to want to grind it out a little bit more while you get some more high-powered, high-flying teams there. See how they shake. I think there will be a good team under Coach Curtis. Are they state title contenders? Probably not quite yet with him there.
Yeah, I think for Lexington, I don't think Wildcat fans are going to like if everybody goes to playoffs. I don't think they're going to like where they're going to get seeded. But I think Lexington's going to be a team where in that first round, they're going to be a really tough game for whoever they're going up against, because that's going to be a tough draw. Because Lexington's going to be, I don't think they're going to be seeded well, but they're going to be better than what that seeding and what that placement actually is.
Yeah, Jim says first week of regional play, go White Knoll. Yeah, we think they win this matchup here. Greg says, Irmo looking consistent every week, definitely a state contender. Agree with you there, Greg. Radio Shorty says, if Coach Taylor can turn a cow pasture into a football field, anything is possible despite the storms. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. That's right, little Friday Night Lights reference there for you guys. We've got a She Love Kane says, yo. A couple other comments here. MG Nelson says, talking to SCISA ball yet. We'll get to SCISA here in a minute. We'll talk about them here after the 1A slate. Also says Grayson Howell does a great job. He has done a fantastic job there with the Bulldogs, no doubt about it. Great comment there. He has done a great job with that program. Looking down now at the 3A slate, John.
Yeah, we'll see North Charleston go to Battery Creek. Walk'em goes to Georgetown.
A fun county rivalry there between those two squads.
Oceanside will go to Hanahan.
That's an interesting matchup. Hanahan had a very nice win last week over a pretty good Andrews team that got played on Wednesday. I think it was a 1-point win for the Hawks. Oceanside, a team similar to like a Gray Collegiate or even a Dutch Fork that has to play some bigger schools, some out-of-state schools because teams don't want to play them. So I think it'll be nice for the Land Sharks to get to play a team from South Carolina in their classification again for sure. I'm really high on those guys. Even with Coach Wilkes resigning a few weeks back, I think what Manavy can do at quarterback, Virgilio outside, that defense there, they're a tough team. Hanahan, I think, just a little bit too young on offense right now with the new freshman quarterback. I think Oceanside wins this game, but could be a close one down there at Wiley Knight Stadium.
Yeah, a lot of veteran experience on that Oceanside team. I think they'll be okay. One of our CONA games of the week we talked about earlier in the program. You can go back and watch this. Dillon at Loris, big-time reaching game there. And our we'll come back. Fox Creek will go to Orangeburg-Wilkinson.
Canceled. We now have Orangeburg-Wilkinson hosting HKT for homecoming on Friday. I think both of their opponents had to cancel, so now we have that matchup scheduled for homecoming at ODub on Friday.
Okay, well, glad that they're able to work that out. Don't see Carolina playing at Palmetto this week. And we talked about Travelers versus Pendleton. Not sure what's going to happen there. Southside Christian scheduled to play Powdersville. That game not going to happen, or at least not this week. Newberry going to Silver Bluff.
I don't know if that one's canceled yet or not. I don't know. We'll see about that. That it shakes out. If so, I think Newberry wins. Silver Bluff has not won a game yet, John.
Yeah.
That worries me. I think the Bulldogs with Coach Jeter. I really wanted to see them play Saluda last week. That'd have been a great matchup. Yeah. Didn't get to happen. Won't get made up because of non-region contest there.
Yeah, I like Newberry in that one as well if they get to play. A little rivalry game here. Christchurch at St. Joseph's. Not going to happen as of right now.
Yeah, not expecting
not going to happen
it
this week anyways. Keenan's scheduled to play at Swansea
Saturday. I think it's got to move to
Okay.
Saturday. Two teams that are playing good football. Keenan coming off a big win over Chester last week. They've already had a couple nice wins this season. Their Swansea, I believe, has one loss to Barnwell. They're playing really good football. Had a nice win Saturday over Columbia for Coach Fox here in his first season. I think Keenan's got a few too many playmakers on offense. I think the Raiders can win this matchup. I think Swansea, they're careful, John. They're an old school physical run the ball with the that kind of wing kind of offense there for Coach Fox. I think Keenan a little too much firepower for this matchup.
Yeah, I think this Raider team's pretty good down at Keenan. I'm going to keep my eye on them the rest of the year. I was very surprised with them beating up on Chester like they did last week. We will see. Don't know that the Mountain View at Union game is going to happen.
Still
I
up in the air.
doubt it.
Yeah.
Crescent scheduled to play at Walhalla. I don't see that happening. Belt Honey Path at West Oak. That's probably pretty doubtful. Not sure if they're going to do that. And then Broome at Woodruff. I doubt they play that game as well. I know kind of that Broome Cowpens area that was hit pretty hard as well.
No doubt. And then our last 3A game, John, our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week. Another really big 3A matchup in that region we talked about earlier. And that's Aner at 4-1, traveling to Marlboro County at 5-0. Aner coming off a bye, 37 on offense, 24 on defense each week. Marlboro County also had a bye, 37 on offense, 11 on defense. The Blue Jackets led by quarterback linebacker Luke McCracken, running back Matthew Kirby, running back Austin Tanyika. They've already had 1,700 rush yards over 5 games, John. So they like to get it done on the ground. We had a great interview with Coach Jason Allen last week from Aner. He told us, I like to throw the ball too. That's what's there. But right now it's been running the ball, and that's what's working there the Blue Jackets. Marlboro County, quarterback Nidarian Blackwell in their last ball game, 15 for 18, 251, a touchdown through the air, 2 touchdown runs as well. Running back Josiah Robinson, athlete Justin Purvis, 3 carries for 139, 2 touchdowns, 7 catches for 93 yards. Big game there for Justin. Receiver Donovan Pauling Outlaw was also a playmaker for them. Defensively led by Rutgers commit Jacarion Keenan on the back end and defensive lineman Josiah Dwyer at East Carolina commit. 4 tackles, 2 TFLs in that ball game. Covington, McCoy, Walton, and Marcus also contributors there on the defensive side for Coach Johnson's Bulldogs. John, Aner a team that is always tough to play. You got to be physical and you got to play discipline to beat those guys. Marlboro County has been an absolute wrecking ball under year one of Coach Johnson's team there. Did they keep it rolling? Can Aner surprise these guys? What do you like in this region 5-3A matchup here?
This is a great game to start with for this region for both of these teams. I think Marlboro County, I believe in Marlboro County now. I started believing a couple weeks ago. I think they're the better team here. I think they win. But Aner has that ability to really make these kind of games close.
Yes.
They're really good at time of possession, keeping that football on their side, keeping that ball with their offense, keeping it out of the opponent's hands. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. Marlboro County might win handedly here, but I don't think Aner lets this game really get out of control. I think they're good enough to not let this game get out of control as well. I think Marlboro County wins this game, but I think Aner is still a really good team too. I think this is a game where Marlboro County's got to play sharp. They got to be good. They got to play 4 quarters. They got to protect the football. You certainly can't be turning the ball over in a game like this against a program like this. If they do that, they'll win. If they don't, boy, this thing could get interesting. And if Aner beats Marlboro County this week, already one of the arguably toughest region in football in the state this year. But if Aner wins this game, it's going to be the most fun to watch this year as well, for sure.
I'm leaning Marlboro County, and I hate doing this, but it's like sometimes you got to compare scores, honestly. So Aner beat Conway 39-35 on a crazy comeback in the fourth quarter, crazy last play. Marlboro County beat Conway 40-16, and it wasn't that close, honestly. Had some penalties and whatnot that kind of got a little tighter than it was. I think the Bulldogs are for real, man. We keep talking about them each week, like how good are they? How good are they? They've answered every test that we've seen. I think the Bulldogs win again. I think they put Region 5-3 on notice that, hey, we are for real, and we are ready for you guys looking at Dillon and Loris there.
Yeah.
I think Marlboro County is the real deal. I think they win this matchup. Jerel, what do you like in our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week between Aner and Marlboro County?
I think this is a situation where, with Aner, I think they're legitimately a top 10 team in 3A.
Yeah.
But I think Marlboro County is that good. And I think it's going to be a situation where Aner is going to have to really like muck this game up a little bit, like where they're going to have to, like you said, John, ball control, maybe force a few turnovers, block a punt, take a kickback. They're going to have to do something like that in order for this one to reach a really close ball game. I think Marlboro County just is supremely talented when it comes to this. And I'm definitely going to pick them to win this one. But it should be fun. Again, I think Aner's it's crazy how deep this region is. I think Aner's legitimately a top 10 team. But I think Marlboro County is a top 3 team, regardless, of anything. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Just want to thank HTC for joining us. This should be a good football game if you guys are down in that area.
Jerel, what was it Coach Allen told us last week? It doesn't matter how fast they are if you're running right at them. Isn't that what he said? I think it was.
Sure. Yeah.
So, hey, we know what Aner's going to do, man. Like, they're going to come at you, and they're going to see if Marlboro County can, play discipline football and play smart football and win this game. But I think the Bulldogs are a little more talented right now, and I think they play good football in this matchup. I think the Marlboro County Bulldogs get a win to start off their region play 1-0. Once again, that's our HTC Hometown Connection game of the week. Each week we'll have a game from either Horry, Marion, or Georgetown counties to focus on. This week we had Aner at Marlboro County. HTC, this is live. Connect with it. Jerel, any comments from the chat? Got a couple here on IG once you go through those. On 3A or this matchup. Curtis's Marlboro keeps rolling. Dillon Marlboro coming up soon. Yeah, that Highway 9 rivalry is going to be a lot of fun. Curtis can't wait for that one. I think Marlboro wins as well.
Yeah, sorry, computer spazzing out. Also for Derek, I know that Powdersville
a rough week for the state. It certainly is, Derek. Tons of games missed last week. We're going to have tons missed again this week. Have you heard about Powdersville? Have they made a call yet? You may know better than we do on that matchup. But I talked
to a good buddy. I know Powdersville, Piedmont. They're another place that got hit pretty hard. I know they were just starting to get power back today. So I think it's going to be tough for them to play this weekend.
Yeah, and I've already seen that Georgia announced today they're going to move the playoffs back to accommodate some of those games they had to miss. So I don't know what South Carolina's do because, some of these teams are going to be 2 games behind.
Yeah.
And with the bigger regions now, game canceled per Derek. Thank you, Derek. Yeah, with the bigger regions now, those games last week, a lot of those were region contests.
Yeah,
so I don't really know what you want to do here. I know with the higher levels they've talked about in the 5 and 4 right now that they use that RPI for the seeding, they could possibly just use that and drop those games. But you don't want to drop 2 matchups if you have to. So we'll see what happens there. A couple comments from Sinkum Sports. Says, is Greenville County canceling this week's games or rescheduling them? Also, how about the games that were canceled last week? Yeah, we don't know yet for sure. I know these teams certainly want to play those games if possible. It's going to depend on what the high school league does with the playoffs. Greenville County has not announced for sure yet what they're going to do. I think it'll come out tomorrow, they say. I don't see how you play if you've already canceled school for the full week.
Yeah. I
don't know how you're going to play football on Friday when you haven't been to practice with your boys. So I don't expect them to play for sure. Let's see. We got a Big Fort comment. We talked to those guys earlier. They need a big win over Ashley Ridge as well. Jerel, let's talk to some of the friends of the program before we look at the 2A slip.
At HTC, we're here to keep you connected. Here to provide reliable fiber optic internet with free, fast, and secure HTC Smart Wi-Fi. HTC, here to connect.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to kona.care to learn more.
Are we looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice. Let's look down at 2A now, John.
We'll see Andrews go to Academic Magnet. Jerel is at Andrew Jackson.
Always a big region matchup there. I think Jerel playing pretty good football. Andrew Jackson not playing good football right now. I think the Braves win this one.
They should. They certainly should. Marion will go to Atlantic Collegiate.
A team that needs to win big is the Swamp Foxes, man.
Yes,
they lost the Tobacco Bowl last night to Mullins 20-6. They need a win for Coach Hennessy there.
Timberland will be at Burke. Buford going to Central Pageland. Blacksburg is potentially at Chesney. Don't know if they'll play that game or not. Columbia goes to Chester. Hampton County is at Edisto.
Columbia played good football. I mentioned them losing to Swansea. So they played pretty. They may have 4 wins already, 3 wins already. Chester, a tough loss last week. That kind of surprised me there. Hampton County didn't get to play last week. That Christchurch game got canceled there. Needed a nice bounce back. Lost to Hilton Head Island a couple weeks ago. I think they get a nice win over Edisto.
Yeah. Chester reeling. They need a win too.
Yeah.
Manning will be at King Street.
All of a sudden, a big region game. Manning had a nice win over East Clarendon last night. King Street, 2-0 in the region. They beat a pretty good Lake City team last week, I felt like. King Street did not play well until region play, but now here they are. Manning, we'll see what happens on the road, but that could be a fun matchup down there.
Barnwell will go to Lake Marion. Clinton's at Liberty.
A sneaky game there, I feel like.
If they play.
Yeah, Liberty, I believe, is lighting up the scoreboard, it feels like. Clinton didn't play last week. I think the Red Devils of Clinton, too much firepower for the Liberty Red Devils. I love what Coach Fountain and the boys are doing. I think they get a win this week.
Fairfield Central will go to Mid-Carolina. Lake City is at Mullins. Pelion goes to 96. Chesterfield is at North Central.
Let's talk about Chesterfield and Mullins for a second. Both teams still undefeated, man. Who would have told you for the season that Mullins would be 6-0, Chesterfield 5-0 at this point in the year, man? Two teams that are playing really good football. I think they both can win again this week. So we'll see how that shakes out.
I think Chesterfield definitely wins. Mullins, tough game they've got there. But, hey, I got a good shot. Got a good shot playing at home, playing good football. Got a lot of momentum as well. American Leadership will travel to Saluda if they play that game. One of our CONA games of the week. Really, really hoping they're able to play this game. Batesburg-Leesville going to Strom Thurmond, big-time region game there. And Philip Simmons will be at Woodland.
Big matchup there in that region. Philip Simmons' team that's kind of been laying in the weeds this year. Woodland had a good start of the year, had that tough loss to who did I just mention last week? They just lost to somebody who was undefeated. Or they were undefeated and just took a loss. No, I just said it. Who beat Woodland last week?
Fox Creek?
No. Anyway, will be a fun matchup there between the Wolverines and the Iron Horses. Woodland, one loss, happened last week. Can't remember who. Bishop England beat them last week. That's who it was. Bishop England beat them. Any other two-way comments from you, Jerel, or from the chat?
Let's keep rolling, guys.
Perfect. Looking down at 1A now, John.
Hardyville goes to Bamberg Earhart. Military Magna is at Baptist Hill. Branchville will go to Bethune-Bowman. Branchville team I'm pretty high on.
Yeah, that cross game got canceled on Monday. Would have loved to see that one between those two squads, but I think Branchville is pretty good.
Williston Elko goes to Calhoun County. Latta is at Carver's Bay. St. John's will go to Cross. Calhoun Falls at Dixie. Like Dixie in this game.
I had somebody ask about that one.
Yeah. I like the Hornets. I think they're a pretty good football team this year. Calhoun Falls, they're one of the small schools in the state.
Those are two teams I do think those programs though are on the way up. I love what Coach Theus is doing there for Calhoun Falls. Dixie, you mentioned John, I believe, just took their first loss a couple weeks ago. They're off to a good start there as well. I think Dixie a little too much in that matchup there for Calhoun Falls, but could be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I expect Dixie to win this game. I'm not sure they'll blow them out or not, but I expect them to win this one. See Lee Central go to Great Falls. Johnsonville is on the road at Hemingway. Talked about this game, or asked about this game. Pamplico at Lakeview. Pretty good game here. I like the Wild Gators.
Could be a pick 'em matchup for us. We'll begin that here in a little bit. There, Dixie. I thought Dixie lost to Anderson. I've lost Kenny, but if not,
they did.
They won that game 14-6 against Anderson.
They won the game.
Yep, it was
okay.
backwards.
Awesome. Dixie's still undefeated. Good for those guys. Hannah Pamplico and Lakeview. Lakeview playing good football. Their lone loss to Mullins in a crazy game that got postponed, played a half or whatever, had to come back on Monday and finish it there. Hannah Pamplico playing good football. I love Jamarcus Williams. I love Wade Poston in the backfield. They do a great job there for Coach Woodbury. We mentioned, the Wild Gators with Kason Herlong and Tyrell Foxworth there for Coach King. Two really, really good 1A teams. I think Hannah Pamplico is for real. I'm high on that team. They had a nice win over Johnsonville already. I believe the Raiders can get this win on Friday. Curtis says HP and Lakeview for Lower State down the road. Certainly could with the way it shakes up. I think Lamar is going Upper State this year too, so it certainly could be two teams you see again in the playoffs.
We'll see C.A. Johnson going to Louisville. Lamar is at McBee. Abbeville goes to McCormick.
That one's canceled.
Okay, the McCormick game.
Yes.
Okay. Blackville Hill at Ridge Spring Monetta.
Also canceled.
All right. Denmark Olar at Ridgeland. And Hunter Kenner Tyler, you said, is going to
Orangeburg Wilkinson now.
for
Yep.
their homecoming. Will not play. They were slated to play at Wagner Sally. And then Ware Shoals will go to Whitmire. I assume that game's going to happen. I'm not sure if Whitmire got hit as hard as their neighbors to the north or not.
Yeah, have not heard about that matchup there. Jerel, any comments from the chat on 1A? I know you popped a couple up there as well. Kenny says, I'm a linebacker for Dixie. Feeling Davis ruled this game. Dixie by 30. Love it, Kenny. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for the update, too, on that game. You know, I think, Jerel, you're right. I think the first score we saw, the Anderson game had Anderson winning. So good to hear that was mixed up. You know, sometimes we get some mixed results and mixed feedbacks. Appreciate you doing that, Kenny. Best of luck to the Green Hornets this week against Calhoun Falls. Anything else, Jerel, on the 1A slate?
Let's roll to SCISA ball.
Perfect. Some SCISA matchups. So we got Trinity Collegiate at Camden Military, Heathwood Hall at Augusta Christian. Interesting to see what Heathwood Hall can do, building off of that win over Cardinal Newman 2 weeks ago. Had a tough one to Porter Gallatin. But Porter Gallatin is a really good football team. How about this stat, guys? You're going to love this. Safety for Heathwood, Julian Hughes. They played 6 games, 109 tackles. 109 tackles so far, guys. That's a heck of a start to the season for Julian Hughes.
So 10 tackles again? Almost 9 tackles again.
Way more than that. 6 games, 109 tackles?
Wait a minute. Almost 20 tackles again.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That Gator math.
That's a huge game there. A huge performance for safety Julian Hughes so far. Love what Coach Thurmond's building there with that program. We got Faith Christian at Calhoun. Providence Athletic Club. Not sure much about those guys. Are going to Northside Christian. Oakbrook Prep at King. Richard Wynn at Newberry. Cross at Kings. Cathedral at 6-0. Traveling to Jefferson Davis at 6-1. You know, Cathedral has been hammering everyone. I think this is kind of really their first real test. JDA led by Colson. Lode Holt there at quarterback, also playing defense for them. 3 running backs last week. James Grubbs, Nazir Void, Dalton Nix, all over 100 yards. I think JDA proves that they are the real deal and hands Cathedral their first loss this week. A rematch of last year's 4A state title game. Lawrence Manning going to Hammond. Lawrence Manning, Jerel, I know you picked them before the season started. They are not playing good football right now. And the Skyhawks are playing great football. I think Hammond hammers those boys there this week. Wilson Hall going to Pinewood Prep. A really fun matchup there. The worry for me with the Barons, Coach Jarecki's squad, is injuries, man. They have been hit hard lately with that. Their quarterback, their linebacker, a few others are all out for the Barons there. Milling Galloway, who has been stepping up lately, had 16 rushes for 139 last week for them. Pinewood Prep playing great football. Big win for Coach Holloman's squad last week. Jeremiah Singleton, one of our players, we had over 400 yards rushing. Huge game there for the Panthers. They were playing great with Austin Wyndham at quarterback as well. John Paul goes to First Baptist. Buford Academy goes to Bethesda Academy. Another fun matchup there in 2A. Bethesda in 2A, excuse me. Lawrence Academy at Wardlaw. A good 8-man squad here between both of those guys. I love to see Colt Bailey going up against Spires McCameron. Will be a fun matchup there down at Wardlaw. Holly Hill at Conway Christian. Clarendon Hall at Thomas Sumter. Somebody gets their first win in that matchup. Orangeburg Prep at Spartanburg Christian. Ben Lippin at Porter Gowd. Carolina at Williamsburg. A old-time rivalry here. I believe Williamsburg is the better football team. Carolina, first-year head coach David Rankin kind of running that single wing. Can always be tough. I think the Stallions under Coach Boyd get that win. Northwood going to Cardinal Newman. Really wanted to see Northwood and Hammond last week. Didn't get that matchup. Northwood's still undefeated. I think they beat Cardinal Newman. It could be a tough test for them. Patrick Henry at Thomas Hayward. St. John's at Dillon Christian. Hilton Head Prep at PD Academy. The Golden Eagles homecoming this week. Playing good football. Have just destroyed everybody in their way so far this year. Hilton Head Prep did have a nice win Monday over Dillon Christian. I think the Golden Eagles too much this week. And then our SCISA game of the week, our CONA game of the week, Lee Academy at Dorchester Academy. Broke that one down at the beginning of the show. Should be a fun matchup between the Cavs and the Raiders. Looking forward to having those two guys get together. Mitchell says thoughts on Jefferson Davis versus Cathedral. Mitchell, I think JDA is a little more proven right now. Cathedral, like I said, 6-0, hammering everyone. I think this is their first big test. Like I mentioned, I love Lode Holt there. Grubbs, Void, Nix had a big game last week. I think JDA gets a win and hands Cathedral their first loss, but should be a fun matchup. These two teams are, combined 12-1, so they're both pretty dang good for sure. Any other comments on SCISA there, Jerel, before we move on to the next part of the program?
No comments there. Braves had runners on the corners, did not score. 3 strikeouts. Big Bear strikes out on a questionable low strike there. But
we've got Coach Nelson said us to go back and watch it. Thanks for the coverage of Dorchester Academy. Yeah, Coach, if you missed a part of our show, it's always going to be back on Facebook and YouTube. You can check it out once the show is over. It will live on those 2 platforms forever. I know we had an issue with Facebook last week. Hope that's fixed out now. We'll see, but it's always going to be on our podcast and YouTube as well. Allie Jenkins asked about Williston Elko. John, who do they have this week in 1A? I don't know if I saw who they had. Or Jerel, did you see who they had or remember who they had by chance?
I can tell you in just a second.
Perfect. Yeah, Allie, appreciate you tuning in. As always, checking that out. Yeah, guys, if you missed a part of the show, you can always go back and watch it later. You can always check it out at some point. It'll live forever on Facebook, YouTube, and our podcast platforms.
They will be at Calhoun County. Like their chances to win that game. Calhoun County struggled. So
they've been
really
down this year for Coach Former compared to
surprising.
normal for sure. I think the Blue Devils do have a good chance to win that matchup there. Jerel, let's shout out some friends of the program before we move into the next portion of the program.
Preferred Home Services. How can we make you smile today? Preferred Home Services. For electrical or plumbing, cooling too. Go, 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 Preferred.
Put Founders in the game and win big with our great rates. Whether you're looking for a loan or want to grow your money with a certificate, Founders Federal Credit Union can help you move the chains on your financial goals. Not a member? No problem. Visit foundersfcu.com to see if you qualify. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
Quick update on our pick'em. We were going to scratch last week. Only one of the games has been played. Everything else has either been postponed or completely canceled. We're just going to scratch last week. We're still working on this week. We'd love to wait and hear what some of these games are going to do. I don't know, guys. We'll talk about it after the show. We may just go with games that we know are going to be played and figure it out. But working on the pick'em there. But guys, Jerel, let's release the polls for this week. We can save the SCISA ones for just for only social if you want to. But looking here at 5A. Not much of a change, honestly. Dutch Fork, Somerville, JLman, Sumter, Bowling Springs in Division 1 with Spartanburg also receiving votes. Division 2, Northwestern, Gaffney, Irmo, Hillcrest, and Greenwood rounding out the top 5. Berkeley, West Florence also get votes. A couple chances for these guys to make some noise this week. You got that West Florence team, big area at Sumter. They could certainly pop up there if they show up this week. A lot of these teams, we just don't know if they're going to play or not. It's hard to make a big judgment on 5A right now, John. Any comments on that or from you, Jerel? Okay, let's look at 4A. That's fine, too. Westside still number 1. Daniel number 2. RNE 3. Tie for 4. South Florence, South Pointe. May River also getting votes. In 3A, BHP at 1. A little bit of a shakeup here after that, though. We got Woodruff at 2. Marlboro County at 3. Mountain View at 4. Dillon at 5. Loris and Swansea also receiving votes. 3A saw a shakeup. You had that Loris loss. Caught some folks off guard there with that one. But I think 3A is going to make a lot more sense after we see this Marlboro County Ainer game and this Dillon Loris game on Friday night.
Yeah, I tell you what, just looking at those top 5 polls for 3A and 4A, man, those are some really good teams.
Can't wait to see how those shake out. Looking at down at 2A and 1A, Batesburg-Leesville continues to hold that number 1 slot. Clinton 2, Barnwell 3, Hampton County 4, and Fairfield Central a tie for 5th with Saluda there. 1A, Abbeville, Blackfield, Hilda, Bamberg, Earhart, Louisville, and Branchville. Hannah-Pamplico also receiving votes. That Fairfield Central team, I think, is on a heater right now. We'll see how good they can be. Would love to see Saluda against Newberry last week. That game got canceled there. But 2A, we'll find out more about Strom, Thurmond, and Batesburg-Leesville last week. That's for dang sure. And Clinton, too, a tough test against Liberty as well in the 2A ranks.
Yeah, those will be 2 fun games. Hopefully both of those happen.
For sure. Jerel, any comments from you or from the chat on any of these polls as we start to kind of wrap up here for the night? Saluda should be 2 from Ruddy.
Tell you what, they're awfully good.
Yeah, that defense is really good, Ruddy. The offense worries me a little bit. We'll see, as they get into region play, how good those guys are on that side of the football. Certainly a great team. Coach Young has them has those guys flying around. No doubt about it. They're undefeated still. John, do you have their more information about their points per game?
They're giving up 8 a game.
Yeah, 8 a game is tough. Nathan says Preferred Home Services gets business week. Exactly right. Yeah, PHS. Call our friends Preferred Home Services there for all your HVAC, electrical, plumbing needs there as you try to recover from Hurricane Helene. Give those guys a call at Preferred Home Services.
Leave a message. The line could be busy.
That's right. That's right. Any other comments from you, Jerel, or from the chat on any of these polls?
No, nothing else for the chat from me. I mean, really didn't have much shakeup, obviously, with a lot of the games not being played. Again, that Saluda team, I'm one of the ones that's kind of holding them back, I will say, in our poll because, I want to see them play. I was really, really bummed out that we didn't get to see them play Newberry this week because that's probably where we were going to head.
Yeah, and they're very untested, Good program, but for this year, just haven't been tested a ton yet.
Yeah, I want to shout out our teams of the week from Preferred Home Services. That's Socastee, Keenan, and Burns. Our Players of the Week brought to you by the Georgia Agency, Tyquan Griffin at Broome, Jeremiah Singleton at Pinewood, and Keyshawn Washington at Somerville. As always, guys, send us those stats each week that you see. Love to have you shout out some guys that you're fans of. We had a couple comments like, hey, do you guys cover the whole state with the Players of the Week? We do, but you got to send us the stats. Yeah. If we don't see the stats, we can't pick them. So we need your help getting more nominees each and every week. Even if we don't pick them for the winner, they will be mentioned in our podcast. They'll be mentioned in the blog we put out as well that lists everybody. So definitely give us those stats. We'll give those guys some shine throughout the week. So shout out to all our friends of the program, Hand Engineer with our pick 'em as well. That hopefully is back this week. Hopefully get that going. Get your guys Moving the Chains merch. Lots of great hats. Black hats, gray hats, all kind of Richardson stuff there. We've got some great toboggans as well, gray and black for that colder weather coming up. We've got the T-shirts I mentioned, black, gray, navy blue, pink for the ladies. Get you a Moving the Chains T-shirt, mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. Message us on Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is, we'll take care of you there as well. And I mentioned the hoodies. We got a gray hoodie and a white hoodie, getting low in supply on these. So really love to have you guys get some of these soon. Like I said, it's going to be colder weather here soon enough, man. So definitely get your guys merch and support the boys. Help us make the show bigger and better. John and Jerel, I really hope we get to play a lot of football this week. It's not looking super promising here in the upstate, but hope we get some fun matchups out of it anyway.
Yeah, and if we got to travel to go to a game, we can do that. But some really good matchups. Really hope that we see happen this week. If not this week, at least down the road. So we'll see what the South Carolina High School League does. County school districts, what they do as well. But hey, as we know more information, we'll keep you guys updated on all our platforms. Stay tuned to us on Twitter, Facebook, all of our outlets. We'll keep you up informed as much as we are. And if you hear about things, definitely let us know too, because I know a lot of you hear things before we do as well. For sure. That's Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS on all those social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that. Check us out. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Movin Chains brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Each week, our weekly preview show Tuesday nights at 7:15. Our weekly recap show comes out on Sundays. Lots of great interviews and whatnot in between. So definitely check us out for that. Jerel, any final thoughts from you on this week 6 slate?
Yeah, I really do hope we do have some great matchups as we get into region play. So I hope we get to play as much football as possible. It looks like, south of Columbia, we should be fine. So, that's great news. And then anybody else, north, especially the northwestern area of the state. If we don't play football, that's not the most important thing. Hopefully everybody's staying safe. Everybody is able to, recover from, the hurricane from last week. We'll eventually figure out a way to get these games in. We should know more the next 48 hours or so about what's going to happen. So excited to see the games that are going to be played, and we'll get enough football in. But the main thing is I hope everybody's safe out there. No doubt. John, any thoughts from you here on this week 6 slate? Yeah. Echo, same as you guys said, we'll play as much football as possible. Final disclaimer, I'm not a Gators fan. You can pick on me about it. If I go somewhere, I get a shirt. He loves Lake Marion and Lakeview is what I Yes, absolutely. I love it. You know what, Drew, I do want to ask you guys about this while we got you here, because I don't know if we're going to have another platform to do this. What do y'all think we should do with the high school league here with these postponements and rescheduling? I know that it gets tough when you start moving stuff back, because obviously you got the Shrine Bowl, you got North-South.
I mean, I believe the situation, I was reading Lou Bajek's article in the State. I want to say maybe 2015, they had to move stuff back, and the Shrine Bowl was played the same day as the state title games, which, I mean, stinks for the kids that would have been in that game. But what do you do? I mean, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And for the Shrine Bowl, I don't know how far they can move back. Same thing with North-South, because you got kids who now maybe even enroll after December who aren't going to be here to play in January if it gets moved to January, or play basketball, just don't want to play football at that point. I don't know what you do. But I think if you're the high school, you can't worry about that. You got to worry about your title games. You'll figure out that later. What do y'all think should happen to kind of hopefully rectify and get all these games played here somehow?
Yeah, for me, selfishly, I think the high school league, selfishly for them as well, understand, and this should be hashed out. They shouldn't be having this really conversation now. This should be hashed out over the summer. And hey, if we get delayed a week, if we get delayed if we get a week canceled, what's our plan? If we get 2 weeks canceled, what's our plan? 3 weeks, what's our plan? They should have a plan in place already. Maybe they do, but play as much South Carolina high school football that you can play for these kids. And the reason I say that is because you're going to have some kids go to the Shrine Bowl, you're going to have some kids go to the North-South game and this and that, but not everybody.
Yeah.
Do what you can for the majority of the kids. Don't make decisions based on money, whether you get people coming to games or not. Make decisions on whether it's safe, whether it makes sense logistically for both sides, and get as many of the high school games in as you can. And if something happens, if there's conflict with North-South, conflicts with Shrine Bowl, still give those kids the recognition. Even if they can't play or they say they turn it down, give them that choice, give them that option to turn it down. Because you know what? 10 years, 15 years down the road, they can still say, yeah, man, I got invited to play the Strom Bowl. I didn't play because I want to play basketball, but I got invited to play the Strom Bowl. I got to play the North-South game. Still give them that honor.
Yeah, I think we just give the high school league the opportunity to do their jobs, right? I'm sure they do have some, falls to where they should be prepared, in these particular situations. So hopefully they do. I mean, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I agree with John. Just play as much as you can, meaningful football, for these guys. And again, it's a special thing where the Shrine Bowl, North-South, I mean, those are great events. They're great, fundraising events as well, for good causes. But also it's a situation where a lot of these kids who are not going to be able to participate in those all-star games, this is their last time playing football, so we want to make sure that they're able to get that opportunity to do so. And those games are very meaningful for the communities as well, when it comes to the gates at these local schools and things like that. So just make sure that we're able to get as many of those games in as possible. Some are obviously going to be canceled, especially with them being some non-region contests. We understand that. But as much meaningful football as we can get as far as region play is concerned I think we need to. But of course, we also need to take into consideration, the safety and logistics that goes along with that. So should be it should be a situation where we get it figured out, very, very quickly, because it's a safety thing too. A lot of these kids, I know Nathan mentioned it earlier, they haven't practiced in over a week, just because they haven't been able to go to the school, so if you're not able to practice, you're not really able to go perform and go play. So just give them the opportunity to be able to practice, be able to perform and do so at a high level. So that's kind of my take.
Yeah, I think I saw Coach Jeter at Newberry had the comments like, hey, I don't want my seniors to play 8 games instead of 10. Like, I mean, that's if they miss this week, that is 20% of the regular season. It's out the window, which is just tough. And I don't know logistically how much you can move around the state title game. Being at SC State, they don't play games in December like that. So you would think that you could probably move it back. I guess. I don't know for sure. But now you're looking at 2 weeks, and what do you do with these teams that did play? Do they get 2 weeks of buys? I mean, because they're not going to want that either. So I don't know. Definitely tough situation, but hopefully it gets worked out. One thing I do want to note that I think SCISA started doing this week, which I think this year, which may be a very smart thing to do, is they gave a league-wide bye in week 8, I think, or week 7. Just late in the season, said, hey, there's no games this week. So that way, if we do have a situation, we can move those games to that week. And a year like this, it's going to certainly pay off. Maybe that's something the high school league looks at in the future where, hey, we're just going to have a league-wide bye, the first week of October or later, whatever it is, just so you can have a spot to make up some games if something like that happens. So certainly an idea to keep in mind in the future for the high school league, but certainly a lot to figure out. But Moving the Chains is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. For Jerel Hendricks and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Week 6 South Carolina High School football preview show. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.